What makes a player leave behind 7 years of loyalty to a franchise and step into the heart of a city that breathes basketball like no other? What is it about Boston that can turn hesitation into conviction and doubts into destiny? The answer lies not in statistics alone, but in a decision loaded with meaning, risk, and hidden opportunity. Before we dive deep into what this shocking addition means for the Celtics and why it could reshape the entire narrative of the season, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button so you never miss a single twist in this journey. Because what is about to unfold goes far beyond a simple free agent signing. Chris Boucher, 32 years old, 7 long seasons in Toronto, a career forged in silence, with moments of triumph like the championship, but also years of frustration and vanishing minutes. Then came the question that every athlete eventually faces: what is left to prove, and where can it be proven? For Boucher, the answer led him straight to Boston, a city where banners do not just hang from the rafters, but whisper a challenge to those who dare wear the green and white. But why Boston and why now? According to Boucher himself, the choice was about rediscovering the fire, about finding a culture where winning is not an occasional luxury, but a relentless expectation. He revealed that Brad Stevens and the Celtics front office had been keeping an eye on him for years, a detail that changes everything. Imagine carrying the weight of seasons where your role was questioned, then suddenly being told that one of the most demanding organizations in basketball not only noticed you, but actively wanted you. That is not just an offer, it is a validation. And then there is timing. Boston's frontcourt has been shaken. The exits of Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford, and Luke Kornet opened gaps too big to ignore. The team still has solid contributors like Neemias Queta and Xavier Tillman, but the puzzle is incomplete. In this storm of change, Boucher steps in not as a desperate signing, but as a piece that may be sharper than most realize. Could this veteran, often overlooked, become the unpredictable weapon in Boston's arsenal? Consider this. Last season in Toronto, Boucher delivered his best three-point shooting numbers ever. Over 36% efficiency on nearly 4 attempts per game. For a player once criticized for being too eager from deep, this was a transformation. Now picture him inside Boston's system, a team that thrives on spacing, movement, and finding the cleanest shot possible. What happens when you insert a player who already adjusted his game to smarter shot selection into an environment where precision is demanded on every possession? The answer might be explosive, but the real suspense is not just in his numbers, it is in the unknown. Boucher admitted he still feels like he has much more to give. That kind of hunger, at 32, is not common. Most veterans at this stage settle into limited roles, but Boucher speaks about opportunity, about proving he can impact the game in multiple ways. That kind of mindset can turn an ordinary signing into a season-defining moment. The question is, will Boston unlock a version of Chris Boucher that the league has never truly seen? And then happened the unexpected. When asked why Boston, he did not just mention winning. He spoke of energy, culture, being wanted. Those words carry weight, because the Celtics are not simply looking for bodies to fill minutes. They are searching for players who will embrace the mission of chasing banner number 18. For Boucher, it is not just about finding a place on the floor, it is about entering a story that is bigger than himself. So what does this mean for Celtics fans? It means that the narrative of this season may include a surprise veteran stepping out of the shadows at the exact moment Boston needs him most. It means that every rebound, every rotation, every corner three that Boucher takes could carry echoes of a decision made months earlier in August, when he chose Boston over comfort and familiarity. The season is only beginning. The camp at the Auerbach Center is just opening, but already there is a new sense of intrigue. The Celtics have added a piece that does not fit into the obvious headlines, and that is exactly why fans should pay attention. Because sometimes, the players who arrive without the noise are the ones who change everything when it matters most. And the big question lingers. Will Chris Boucher's gamble to choose Boston be remembered as the turning point of his career, and perhaps the hidden key to another championship run? And the big question lingered. Will Chris Boucher's gamble to choose Boston be remembered as the turning point of his career, and perhaps the hidden key to another championship run? The answer began to take shape not in the voice of Boucher himself, but in the measured and calculated words of Brad Stevens, the man pulling the strings behind the curtain. At Celtics Media Day, Stevens finally addressed the moves that left fans with more questions than answers. Why trade Georges Niang, a player just acquired weeks earlier from Atlanta, only to send him to Utah along with draft capital? Why create a vacuum in the frontcourt, only to fill it almost immediately with Chris Boucher? The explanation seemed simple on the surface, but beneath it lies a blueprint that could alter Boston's entire trajectory. Before diving into that revelation, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the hype button, because what Stevens admitted publicly is only half of the story, and the rest could be the secret that defines the Celtics' path this season. When pressed, Stevens did not dodge the emotional side. He admitted that moving Niang was not easy. After all, Niang is a Boston native, and the chance to wear green is every local kid's dream. Stevens called it a hard conversation, the type that weighs on any executive who understands the human side of basketball. But then came the pivot. He revealed that the decision was less about sentiment and more about balance, size, and above all, financial flexibility. And then happened the unexpected. Stevens laid out the mathematics. Niang carried an $8 million salary multiplied by punitive luxury tax penalties. Boucher came in at the veteran minimum of $2,300,000. The difference was not just a few million, it was tens of millions once taxes were factored in. For a team already $12 million over the luxury tax line, every dollar mattered. But was it only about money? Or was it about something else, something Stevens was hinting at, but not fully saying? What nobody expected was the twist. Stevens explained that Boston had no intention of entering the season with more than 14 players. Every slot mattered. Every contract was part of a delicate puzzle. The opportunity to bring in Boucher, a player they had targeted for years, would not last forever. The front office had to act, and the decision was made. The short-term pain of losing Niang was the price of securing a piece they believed in. But the story did not end there. Stevens also addressed the departures that shaped this urgency. Al Horford and Luke Kornet, two veterans who anchored the frontcourt, were offered chances to return. Both walked away, not out of bitterness, but opportunity. Horford received a bigger offer elsewhere, and Boston respected his choice. Kornet earned a contract he had fought for and deserved. Stevens admitted those phone calls hurt, but they were proof that Boston's development pipeline was working, even if it meant losing players. The team was left thinner in size, but with an opening that could be exploited by the right signing. And here is where Boucher re-enters the stage. The veteran, already speaking of how Boston had pursued him for years, now finds himself in a role far bigger than anyone imagined. He is not a filler. He is the product of a carefully executed strategy. Stevens did not simply bring him in as a low-cost option. He brought him in because the front office believes his combination of length, shooting, and defensive versatility fits exactly where Boston needs reinforcement. But the suspense remains. Will Boucher become the answer to Boston's frontcourt void? Or is he only part of a much larger chain of moves still hidden from public view? Stevens spoke calmly, logically, but his words carried undertones of a plan not yet fully revealed. What nobody expected was that by moving Niang and embracing Boucher, Boston may have secretly gained not only financial breathing room, but also tactical unpredictability. So the question for fans is clear. Did Brad Stevens just quietly orchestrate a masterstroke, using financial strategy to create basketball advantage? Or are we still missing the final chapter of this offseason puzzle? One thing is certain. In the halls of the Auerbach Center, as training camp begins, the message is loud and clear. The Boston Celtics are not simply building a roster. They are crafting a formula, one decision at a time, to chase the banner that defines their very identity. And now, with Chris Boucher stepping into the light, the stage is set for a season where every twist could carry the weight of destiny. The stage was already set by Brad Stevens, who revealed his carefully measured plan to reshape the roster. Yet as the dust settled, another voice rose from within the Celtics locker room, one that carried not the calculated tone of a front office executive, but the raw conviction of a player ready to shoulder the weight of Boston's expectations. And it came from Payton Pritchard, the reigning sixth man of the year, a guard who embodies the city's relentless heartbeat. What nobody expected was this. With Jayson Tatum sidelined for most, if not all, of the 2025 and 2026 season, many around the league whispered that Boston's path had narrowed. Analysts predicted a step backward. Skeptics pointed to the exits of Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Al Horford as proof that the Celtics' window had closed. But inside the locker room, Pritchard refused to bend. His words carried the kind of defiance that transforms doubt into danger. "They shouldn't be in our locker room if they don't have that mindset," he said with absolute clarity. "There's only one mindset. There's only one mindset of the city of Boston, and it's you win championships here." The statement was not just a promise, it was a challenge. Not playoff-bound, not rebuilding, but championship or nothing. But can a team stripped of stars still chase a banner in the rafters? This is where the suspense deepens. Pritchard has lived this story before. Last season, his breakout numbers, over 14 points per game, 3.5 assists, nearly 1 steal per contest, and a blistering 40% from beyond the arc, proved he could be more than a role player. He became the spark, the weapon nobody accounted for until it was too late. Now, with Tatum out and new opportunities rising, will he transform from spark into flame? And then happened the unexpected twist of the offseason. Boston did not collapse under the weight of uncertainty. Instead, the team grew younger, faster, more dynamic. The addition of Anthony Simons, a scorer with range and swagger, seemed to signal a transition. Critics called it a gamble. Yet for Pritchard, it was an opportunity. With more minutes, more shots, and more responsibility, he sees this as the perfect stage to prove that Boston's championship window is not closing but widening in ways the league has not anticipated. The curiosity now burns. What does a Celtics roster without Tatum look like when every player is forced to elevate? Could a team that lost veterans and all-stars become even more dangerous because of its unpredictability? Pritchard seems to think so. "Guys got to elevate their games in all areas," he said. What a perfect opportunity this year to showcase that. But here is the twist nobody saw coming. Pritchard's words are not empty bravado. They mirror the precise philosophy that Brad Stevens laid out earlier. Financial maneuvering, roster reshaping, veteran departures, all of it pointed toward one truth. The Celtics are not simply building for survival. They are constructing a roster designed to test the limits of versatility. And Pritchard's rise could be the embodiment of that plan. The question now is not whether Boston will make the playoffs, but whether this new formula, forged from change and uncertainty, can shock the league again. The loss of Tatum should have broken their spirit. Instead, it sharpened their focus. The trades and departures should have created excuses. Instead, they produced opportunity. And in the middle of it all stands Payton Pritchard, a player once doubted, now declaring that the championship mindset of Boston remains untouched. So, will this be remembered as the year Boston's hopes crumbled, or the year unexpected heroes emerged to carve a new path toward banner number 18? One thing is certain: every shot, every possession, and every declaration from the locker room echoes with urgency. The Celtics are not stepping back. They are stepping into the unknown with fire in their eyes. And now it's your turn. Do you believe in Pritchard's words? Do you believe that Boston's one mindset is still alive and burning brighter than ever? If you do, then hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the hype button, because this season is about to test everything we thought we knew about the Celtics, and you will not want to miss a single moment of it.